Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Somos Mas, the official podcast of Somos Mas NM, and your source for the news and notes on New Mexico United and the New Mexico Runners. My name, of course, is Seth Bidoff, and we are coming to you live this week in full 1080p, except for Jacob, who's on terrible Wi-Fi, apparently.
It's just my cellular connection, because if it was Wi-Fi, it'd be worse, buddy.
Well, there you go. And we're coming to you on the tail end of the fantasy football debacle of 2024.
I said we weren't going to go there.
Hold on. So here's your options here. I'm so glad you went this route. Option A is you continue down this path, and there's a cool little red button on the bottom that says "Leave Studio." I can go to bed. I'm perfectly okay with that.
Okay, so that's one option, Earl. What's the other option?
Option B is you drop it like we said we were, and we continue with soccer.
Oh, now you want to talk about soccer? Now you want to talk about soccer?
You guys have been wanting to talk about fantasy football since Sunday morning, because all of a sudden the world is falling apart.
No, Earl,
anyways.
We did not want to talk about fantasy football Sunday morning. That was the last thing I wanted to talk about, but you forced us to talk about it.
I didn't talk about something. You guys are the ones that started
it. So for those of you who are not part of our group chat, we had a fantasy football debacle,
which is all of you
this Sunday. Yes.
99%, I guess.
We Jacob and I held a private conversation earlier. We discussed the idea of putting Earl on trial this evening for the actions of our fantasy football commissioner.
So it's cool because I learned something that justifies my actions over the weekend.
Oh,
nothing
really?
justifies it.
There's nothing to justify it.
Hold on. As you guys know, right here, down here, it says still head of the table. So the cool thing is as many of you guys know, I am the commissioner of this free, fun fantasy football league where the kickers can score 130 points. Anyways, like I said, I'm the commissioner. So that puts me with like all the power. So what's the point of power if you can't abuse it?
That's not. Oh God. Oh God.
That in no way justifies the actions of Sunday morning.
Spoken like a true Jerry Jones fan right here.
Actually, that's actually a Vince McMahon quote. Thank you very much.
Okay, they're the same person. Vince McMahon and Jerry Jones are the same person.
So, hi, anyway. Christina's over in the chat. Hi, Christina. Justin, we are here. We did start a couple minutes late. These guys were running a couple minutes behind. So
actually, no, hold on. Pump the brakes, because if it wasn't just me, that freaking intro was like a minute fucking long.
I mean, okay. But no, and Christina, I feel like we do owe you an apology for blowing up your phone on Sunday morning with the fantasy football nonsense.
She said she mutes us, so it's fine.
I mean,
the league chat was where it was all at. The league chat.
Yeah, it was there too as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a whole story that goes along with this, and
so that we're not going to get into.
We're not. No. That's what we're not. We're not getting to get into it. Yeah.
We can't come off a 6-point week and lead with fucking fantasy football. Now.
Okay. Long story short, this one right up here, and this one right up here, are two old ladies.
We're mad at this one. We're mad at this one for colluding.
They're mad at this guy
because
they're two old ladies reading the newspaper and they couldn't move on. Anyways. Let's move on.
Earl, if you really want to get into it.
No.
I was trying to move on and he brought it up again.
I justified your actions. I justified your actions and we can move on.
Both of you
now.
Shut up. I don't have my power because I'm not on my laptop, so I can't mute you guys or kick you off.
Once again, absolute power corrupts absolutely.
That it does. And with power comes great responsibility, Earl.
Yeah, he also died.
Anyways,
Uncle Ben, yes, but Spider-Man, no. So that's who he's teaching the lesson. And that's the lesson here.
Can the chat back me up here? Can you tell these guys to shut up and we can move on?
No, we do have a fantastic week of news to get to. New Mexico United obviously picking up 6 points over the course of the week with wins over Loudoun United and Sacramento Republic FC. And New Mexico United now sits a mere 1 win away from clinching the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. It has been one heck of a week. And
Melanie, I'm sure you heard it all freaking weekend. I am so sorry for disrupting your weekend.
No, she didn't hear it all weekend. She heard I filled her in on Sunday. I'm trying to move on from this.
I'm sorry, got your panties in a ruffle. Like, carry on.
Okay, here's the deal. All right, if we're gonna keep bringing this up,
we're not.
We will schedule a live tribunal. How about that? We will schedule a live tribunal, and we will let chat decide the fate. We'll do this another night, obviously, but that's what we'll do. We will present the evidence to chat and let you guys decide what the fate of well, I guess we could almost say 2 people in this case, because 2 people were involved in collusion. So
do one of you guys want to be league manager? I didn't think so.
Yes, I will gladly be it. I will be it tomorrow.
Yeah, all you had to transfer power, Earl. Peaceful transfer of power.
If you can figure out how.
The last time there was a peaceful transfer of power.
Yes. Yes. The one thing that I care to do is make Seth almost choke. And that was a success.
So many things to talk about. I mean, obviously, you got the win over Sac Republic on Wednesday, and this, to me, I'll go ahead and pull up the clips on this, and I tell you guys, this was probably one of our best matches of the entire season. I watched this. Yes, Sacramento. You could argue that they had the better of the first halves, but in the second half, we were lights out in the second half in this match on Wednesday. And Sacramento did not look like a team that was pushing for first place at all in that second half.
Yeah, no, I agree. They had our number early in the first half. I think to like the middle portion of the first half. I think the first 15 minutes were definitely both teams kind of feeling each other out. And then they took it to us. And if it wasn't for Tambakis and some incredible saves, we would have been, it could have been a very different story. But we were able to make a couple things happen in the first half. And then, like you said, the second half was just textbook defense, able to score on a set piece, Abdi with another header, and then just deadly counterattacks from there to get the other 2 goals. And really, we were pretty unlucky not to keep a clean sheet. It was a I will say it was a well-timed run that Abdi, I believe, keeps Herrera, I believe it was, onside. And but other than that, that was the only moment in that second half where they created anything. Yeah. And so it was a beautiful, beautiful match.
Yeah, you saw the save there by Alex Tambakis, obviously a great reactionary save. And then you see Hurst get on the break after the slip by the San Antonio defender, or Sacramento defender, I should say. Sorry, not San Antonio. Sorry, Harry. But yeah, I mean, it was, Hurst got on the break, had the one-on-one. It looks like he's got a pretty good chance, but then he slips. This was a comment that came up in our group chat the other day. Let me pull it up here. We'll back it up just a little bit. Because it looks to me like Hersey just slips. I mean, the defender slips on the sod. Hurst slips right there on the edge of the outfield grass. I mean, it wasn't particularly slick. So I'm not sure what happened. Maybe it was this transition from the sod to the grass. I don't know.
That's what it looks like to me. Is it was right on that line between the outfield grass and the infield sod. Yeah, just unlucky. That's all.
Yeah, it was. And to Justin's point, I mean, Vitiello, who has done a phenomenal job all year, in the second half, he looked lost. And to to be fair, the Sacramento defense did too in the second half. So, I mean, whatever changes we made at halftime really worked. And here was one of the better opportunities that Sacramento had in the first half. I mean, Earl, when you look at this, what changed for you between the first and second half here, or were you too busy, planning your collusion?
To be fair, this was after. Oh no, this was before the collusion. Never mind.
It was, yeah.
The fuck did you even ask me?
What changed at halftime? What were we doing? What did we do better after halftime?
I mean, it's hard to say because in the first half we were playing really well as well. Really well as well. Sure.
That's right.
Yeah, you're good with that. We looked to be the better team in the first half for the first time in a while. And I don't know what bearded dragon over there is laughing at, but
the comment section, Earl.
Oh, talking about William over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we finally just were able to break down the defense and find the open pockets of space that we can actually play into and work the ball around instead of working it back. I mean, we didn't really play much towards the back until later in the match. I mean, late in the match when we started finally playing back off of keeper and off of back line. But for the most part, we were attacking a good 80 minutes of the match.
Yeah, we were. And that's something that, we've looked for and hoped for, and that, the supporters have hoped for as well, is to maintain that attacking mentality. And I want to back this clip up here just real quick to the Abdi Muhammad goal. I mean, this came on the tail end of a couple fouls. You get the set piece, probably around 28 yards out. Mukwele Akale sends the set piece in. Is this the best set piece goal we've had all season?
Probably. But I don't know. I'd have to really think about the other set piece goals. I will say that I don't know how the foul that led to this free kick wasn't a second yellow for Felipe. That blew my mind. He flat out just kicks Mikeleto's legs out from under him and does not get a card. Like it could have been a straight red from the limited angles that we've seen, and yet he doesn't even get a second yellow. Absolutely crazy to me. I think Abdi had another goal, another set piece goal. It was on this end by the curse. I want to say Orange County, maybe, and that one was pretty nice. And then, are we not counting like free kicks? Because Akale has 3 free kicks.
Yeah, Akale had a good one too. Yeah, so I mean, those are set pieces. So I mean, whatever. I mean, I think this is probably one of the best looking ones. But Quele's off the free kicks are phenomenal too. So.
I think what was really nice and what was the biggest difference was we were actually scoring on 1v1 attacks. I mean, we saw Hursty come up with 2 1v1 attacks and should have had that third one had he not slipped. But when you look at it throughout the entire season, our 1v1 attack has been almost none.
Yeah, so it hasn't been good at times.
So to be able to see us actually come through and capitalize on the 1v1s with the keeper, it's nice, especially this late in the season, because now that's confidence builder for sure.
That is, and massive credit to Greg Hurst here on this one. Perfectly ball. I mean, this ball, the placement on this pass from Sergio, I believe it was, just phenomenal. Great pass by Sergio, and then for Hursty to follow up the initial block from Vitiello, who, I mean, great effort by Vitiello on the initial save, but I mean, Hurst stuck with it. He was played through onside, and that's the kind of shot there where you really hope no one just absolutely bottles it. And Hurst recognized you don't have to slam it in, you don't have to try to get under it, you just tap the ball in, and he did. And then here again, go ahead.
So like that first one, I think it's a perfect example of like that, the initial deflection that it takes off Vitiello could go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
We were fortunate, in my opinion, that it bounced back to Hurst and Hurst was able to put it in the back of the net. But when you're struggling like Hurst was ever so slightly, he hadn't scored in like 5 matches, hadn't scored at home since June or whatever it was.
May.
You need that kind of break and that kind of lucky bounce to find the back of the net. And then I think that directly leads to his confidence that he has to take the finish that he takes for the second goal. Because I think if he hasn't scored at that point, he tries to do too much with that second opportunity the third opportunity technically, but the second opportunity that he scores on, he probably tries to do a little too much with that. And maybe he doesn't find the back of the net a second time. And we're talking about how Hurst hasn't all of a sudden scored in yet another match. But because he gets that little break, and sometimes that's all you need, is just that little break of a ball bouncing left instead of right for you to get that confidence and build back on that. And I wouldn't be surprised if he goes on a tear now.
Yeah, no, it would be great to see, especially have him build some confidence at home, given that we are essentially assured a top 4 spot at this point. Don't want it to, jinx it or anything, but basically one more point, we're good. We can actually clinch a top 4 with a loss this weekend. If you look over at the race to the playoffs over on USL Championship. But yeah, I mean, overall, just a really, well played match by United. We took it to Sacramento, and I don't know what happened to Sacramento in this one. They did not look like the Sacramento we've seen this season. And
that is the Sacramento that we've seen this season, though. It's not the Sacramento that we get every match, but they have been wildly inconsistent. Just like literally every other team other than like Lou City and Charleston in the USL Championship. And so they have those matches where they just look flat like they did against us.
But even at that, though, I mean, look at Lou City. They're inconsistent. They just lost to Detroit City.
Well, those one-offs, yes. But overall, Lou City has been like, you don't get to, what are they at, like 62 points or something like that? You don't get to that. You don't get to 57 like we're at without being at least some level of consistent. That doesn't mean you can't have slip-ups. But the thing with Sacramento is like they just lost Saturday too, like Christina said, or like Justin said. Like they looked even worse on Saturday. And so Lou City might have a slip-up against Detroit City. We might have a slip-up against Monterey Bay where we dominate in XG but still lose. But Sacramento has had like multiple matches in a row where they look meh. And then they'll have 2 or 3 matches where they look good, and then a match where they look dominant, and then a match where they look meh. The results are wildly inconsistent for Sacramento, whereas the results have been fairly consistent for Lou City. Barring, and like no team's going to go undefeated unless you're Bayern Leverkusen in league play. And so they're just strange. It's a strange season in general. And I don't say that to diminish what we're accomplishing in it. It's just, I think it's a couple things. I think the parity in this league and the fact that, like, other than Lou City, who seems to get all the names that we know, like, every roster here has, unless you're Miami, has some level of, like, top-tier talent to it. And on any given Saturday or Sunday or Monday or whatever, a team can beat another team. Like, it's not super crazy to hear or to have like Lou City lose to Detroit City, who's a top 4 team and is probably going to host a playoff game. And it was in Keyworth. So that doesn't really surprise me because all of these teams are capable of doing that. Aside from like 2 or 3.
Yep, absolutely. To Christina's point here, she thinks Sacramento has struggled with recovering the loss of Roro. Absolutely. When you lose a player the caliber of Rodrigo Lopez, like that's a massive loss for any club. But I mean they've held it together fairly well. They've they and Colorado have both been pushing for, that 2, even towards that 1 spot, but we've had enough results to where we now have a fairly comfortable lead going into the final few matches of the season. I mean, we've got 12-point gap between us and Colorado Springs. I mean, we've been in first place since what, May?
It's been like 2-3 months. Yeah,
I think
I've
end of
been
May,
wanting,
early June.
if somebody knows the answer to this, let me know, because I have been wanting to go back. There's not a way to look at like the standings week by week and see the changes. I remember USL used to do like a line graph
Mm-hmm.
where it would like bounce the teams up and down, and they would do that every week, but they haven't done that for a few years. And so I would love to know like when we took over first and how long we've been sitting there. And I'll try to do the research on that before next week, because I am pretty curious about it.
I think there was someone on Reddit that did that too. Or maybe they just copied, or maybe they just stole the USL Championship one. But no, I think that would be really cool, because I was trying to figure that out as well. I had every intention of sitting down to do that. But yeah, I mean, we've been in first place for the past, like you said, the past 3 months. So I think that just speaks a lot to what we've done. And and I'll talk to it here in just a second, because I did get a question about set pieces. Our set pieces have drastically changed since Quill came in, and that's one area that we've vastly improved upon over the past couple of years. And we've seen different things. When you talk about set pieces, you're in a situation where you've got a free kick. Your players are able to get set and try to mark a man or find an open spot and play play like this. It's almost like setting a play in basketball, or running a play from the line of scrimmage in football. Like you have the ability to set up and basically game plan out where you want people to go when and before the ball is kicked. And it's just something that we've done really, really well at. We've been able to place the ball really well. We wondered what would happen after Justin Portillo left. Who would take over that responsibility? We've seen Marco do it. We've seen Quille get a lot of time on the ball. Go in and do these things and really take charge of these set pieces. Now, we'll get to Christina's comment here in just a second. But this allows you to, like Quelle and Nicoletto, they have phenomenal vision of where people are going and what to expect out of them in these set piece opportunities. And so here, I mean, and this isn't the first time that Abdi has done this. This isn't the first time he's gotten up above the defenders. And I think just the placement on this one was phenomenal. Now, Zico's done a few as well. Yeah, absolutely has. I do feel like our corners are not great, but I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we either try to play short, and we've had conversations with David Wiesa-Carl about this. He'll try to be like, okay, if you see this happen, this is what's going to happen. Now, as much as I don't like playing short corners, I mean, there is a tactical reason for it. But this has been one of the biggest parts of our season that has been improved, but on both ends, because you don't see us giving up the goals from set pieces as much as we used to in the past either.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think Herbert and Maples are a part of that as far as the set piece defense is concerned. But it has been, like, I remember even last year at the beginning of the year, we played Orange County at home and gave up a tying goal on a set piece in the dying moments.
Mm-hmm.
And all season last year, even after Cool took over, it was like ingrained in my head to be concerned about that. But now it's like, okay, we have this, we're up by 1. We gave up a corner. It's the 89th minute. I no longer feel like that sense of dread that I have felt in the past, especially at home, because our set piece defense has become so much more improved. And our corners could use some work. Part of me, I don't know what the overall conversion rate is on corners, but it can't be high. So I wonder if playing short and almost resetting with possession is looked at as more valuable than a corner kick that's taken as just a ball into the box that maybe we get ahead on, maybe we don't. I think you can do one. I wouldn't be surprised if we break out some new corner set pieces in the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised if we're holding some back and are going to add some wrinkles to it come playoff time when goals are at a premium. But so maybe it's just a matter of like not showing our cards early right now. But they could be better, they could be worse. Like we haven't done well on corners really at any point. And so I'm almost okay with taking it short, getting possession, changing the angle, doing something to switch things up. What I don't like is when we take that short corner and then do absolutely nothing with it and give possession up right away, which we have seen a handful of times. So we could get better at that. Like if you're going to take a short corner, at least like have a plan and execute it to either maintain possession or get a ball into the box from a different angle. Don't just give it away right away. And so, but our set pieces outside of corners have been with a Kale who can score from anywhere from 20 to 25 yards out. Like he seems deadly in that range. And then him and Zico and Micheletto being able to deliver balls from 25 yards and out that can find somebody's head or some interplay. There was that play against. Oh, I was at that match. Which one was it? El Paso? No. I don't know. It was a corner, and it was taken long. It wasn't just a ball lofted into the box. It was sent to somebody making a run, and then they dummied it, and that led to Hernandez just rocketing one off the post, and Jacobo ended up scoring off of it because he got the rebound. So things like that, I think we'll see more of in the playoffs and stuff like that.
Yeah, I would think so too. I mean, you can't necessarily go in the playoffs with 100% the same thing, right? You've got to keep something back a little bit to kind of give some more variety. And to Christina's point here, the variety of players who can take our set pieces have been nice. Yeah, it absolutely has. You're not just relying on one guy.
It doesn't make us static. We can give you a bunch of different looks. Have an in swinger, have an out swinger, play it short, play it long, a bunch of different options.
Luis, what's been going on with Abu? Well, Abu Danladi has hamstrings made like twigs. So that's what he's been dealing with for most of the season. Has been hamstring issues. So at this point, we honestly don't even know if he's fit really, or how healthy they are. So we don't know.
My guess is he's not.
But
and that's the thing, like with these injury reports, we just don't know now. Like I believe Flanagan and Herbert are injured, at least semi-injured, but we don't know. And so we've heard some things that have led us to believe that they've got specifically a lower body injury, but who knows? Yep. And yeah, Vargas not being in there Sunday kind of threw me off too. Like he still needs 3 more matches to be
2.
Is it just 2? Oh, it 2. Is. Yeah, I completely forget about his first appearance because I missed it. I didn't see it.
And so, he played 3 minutes on Wednesday. So
yeah, and
so Vargas needs 2 more.
So I'm expecting him, if he's healthy, if he's not knocked up, then I expect him to play. I expect him to start somewhere, especially if we can go in and beat Sacramento and get that 1 seed locked up. Then I expect him to start a couple of the next couple of matches to get some much needed chemistry with the first team at game speed.
Yeah. So quickly, Luis, to this point, hates that the injury reports are so inaccurate. So that's the thing. So we as media prior to this year, and we've talked about before, we used to get injury reports the day before.
Even at the beginning of this year.
Even again, yes, but the
'Cause I was
league
posting him at the beginning of this
changed.
year.
Yeah, the league changed the reporting requirements that the clubs have in terms of injuries. So we no longer know ahead of time who's going to be out for the match. But as far as that goes, they they don't necessarily have to report guys as injuries if it's just a knock, right? If it's something serious, then yes, they do report it. But and that's why Christian and Dayon have been on there the entire time, even though we all know that they both have torn ACLs. Now we do know guys get knocked throughout the season. They do rest them, but it's not significant enough, a significant injury, so to speak. So that's why they don't put them on there, because they're still available for selection. They're just healthy scratches, basically. So yeah. That's what it is. Now, us as me, it's last year I used to look at those ahead of time and be like, okay, this guy's coming out. I know not to write about this guy. Don't know that this year. It's come to and bitten me a few times, but it's just because of the league. The club was actually the last club in the league to stop giving that information out. So it is what it is. But
that's what it is. Since the league doesn't require it, it puts United at a competitive disadvantage if they're giving that information out and other teams aren't.
Mm-hmm.
So they're giving that to us in the media guide the day before a match. Then all of a sudden that club that we're going to play against, they know, oh, okay, Bruce isn't, we're not going to see Bruce, and we're not going to see Hurst, and we're not going to see this person. So we can game plan accordingly. And whereas other teams were just like, hey, it could be any of us. You don't know.
Yep.
And so I don't blame United at all for not doing it anymore. It's really annoying that the league doesn't mandate that they have to, but I get HIPAA and stuff like that. Like if it's obviously the NBA and stuff give us information. Soccer or hockey is very much like upper body, lower body though. So I could see they could still do that, but I think one day we will get like salaries and injury reports and whatnot. It's just who knows when.
Yep, eventually. I know we've got another match to get to. Earl, was there anything that you were surprised by on Wednesday? Who was your man of the match?
My man of the match for Wednesday would probably be Tembakis. Other than the one questionable goal that he gave up in the dying minutes, he played a really good match. He stood on top of his head and he was putting himself out there to avoid giving up the goal. So I think Tembakis would be my man of the match.
All right. Yeah, Jacob?
I'll let you go, Seth.
This might come as a shock to you guys. Sergio Rivas.
I shouldn't have let you go first. I didn't think you were going to go that route. Damn it.
Sergio had a phenomenal game on Wednesday. He really did. I mean, watching Sergio, watching his decision making, that pick out pass he had there for Hursty's first goal. I mean, this is probably the best I've seen Serge all season. I can't think of a better appearance for him.
Luis, I'm going to answer your question before I answer my match. So if we win on Sunday against Colorado or against Sacramento, we lock up the 1 seed. If we do not win, then we need to get to 62 points or have Sacramento not be able to get to. So at the moment, Sacramento can get to 62. That's the highest they can get to. So we would need 2 more wins. If we beat Sacramento, then that drops their total to 59. We would be above that. Colorado Springs could get to 60, but we own the tiebreaker against them. So for going into this weekend, you just need to know if we win, we get first place. And then if we don't win, we'll figure out the rest later. But win, and we have first place locked up.
Yep. Yeah, there's a couple different ways to look at it. First, like Jacob said, a win on Sunday clinches it, hands down. Because at that point, Sacramento can only get to 59, like Jacob said. I mean, if we lose on Sunday, then at that point, the magic number is 63. 6 more points. So there's a couple different options, but realist at this point, we control our destiny.
Mm-hmm.
So
basically, if we don't get the first place, if we don't get the 1 seed, then we will have had to have fallen off a cliff to get it, in my opinion.
Mhm.
But back to the man of the match question. I left it for Seth because I thought he might go chalk and say Hurst, and then I was going to throw the curveball of Rivas, which is a huge curveball for me, as you know, because I've been notoriously hard on Rivas his whole career with New Mexico United. And so I'll take the low hanging fruit and I'll say Greg Hurst, having not scored at the lap since May, coming in, bagging a brace against Vitiello and the number 1 defense in the league. Like one thing that we might not have, I don't feel like we touched on enough. Like coming into today, or coming into last Wednesday, they had only given up 22 goals in 28 matches, like less than a goal per match. Vitiello was neck and neck with somebody else for the Golden Glove. And we hung 3 on him. Like that says a lot. And so super proud of the guys for that. And so I think Tambakis is a great shout for man of the match, but I'll go Hurst, who's able to beat the potential goalkeeper of the year. Like, can you imagine if we hang 3 up again on him on Sunday?
that'd be incredible.
And we could just like completely kill any chance Vitiello has a Golden Glove. Like,
Yeah,
I like Vitiello, but so yeah, Luis Fora with a 25-day contract.
I'd say we'll get that here in just a second because that was the news that broke ahead of the match on Sunday. So, all right, there you go. Sacramento 3-1 win for United. Those are our men of the match. And we'll jump right into Loudoun United. And we'll go ahead and just show this here. And yeah, Luis, as Jacob was saying, Sunday morning, we got the shock that United had signed Jermaine Forta to a 25-day contract under the league's emergency goalkeeper rules. And we didn't know what was going on. It came as a shock to everybody. I reached out to the club Sunday morning and I said, is this a short-term thing? Is it, something of concern? Because we didn't know whether it was going to be Chris who was out or if it was Alex. We didn't know because nothing had been announced. And now obviously, Alex was out on Sunday. What I was told by the club is that Alex not being in the team sheet or even, not starting and not even being in the team sheet on Sunday was for precautionary reasons. And that the belief was that he would just be out for Sunday. So we don't know what the actual situation is. And I certainly didn't see anything on Wednesday. I don't know if you guys saw anything on Wednesday.
No.
There was one point early in the second half where he was shaking his hand. Or he was holding his hand. He was doing something with his hand. I want to say that's what it was. But I mean, I have my own speculation.
Again, it circles back to no transparency with injuries and stuff like that. So we will probably never know. It'll be a day-by-day thing of if he's in the team sheet or not. Yeah, I had heard concussion from somebody else as well, Justin. So who knows? But
yeah, and on that topic too, the concussion part, when he walked off the pitch to go talk to the coaches, you could see that he was saying that he was seeing stars. So it could be a concussion.
We'll see. I do have news though, guys.
Okay.
I had a source that just messaged me and said that we took over first place May 25th and haven't been in first place since. So
we haven't been in first place
all
since?
of June. We've been in first place since. So all of June, all of July, all of August, almost all of September.
Mm-hmm.
So 4 solid months we have been in first place.
That's incredible.
So almost
I don't
to the
think
day. Tomorrow will be
Lou
4 months.
City's been in first place that long.
No,
Because I think
Charleston's also
Battery
been
was ahead. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an incredible
Yeah.
run.
4 months of being in first place
Yeah.
is pretty unheard of.
Yeah, it is. So on to Saturday, obviously, no Alex Tambakis. Big news on Saturday. A lot of rotation in this roster on Saturday. You see guys come on, you see Chris come in, and Chris Shakes, absolutely phenomenal job by him on Saturday. You can't say enough. First career clean sheet, and then here the only goal of the match. I really don't know what the defender was thinking here. Like, I don't even know.
He had to have been trying to head it back to his keeper.
Yeah, but the keeper's on the ground.
But he wasn't paying attention to where the keeper was.
Yeah.
That had to have been, and it's like the only thing I could think of that was going on. But yeah, it was questionable. There's a great Shakes save.
Yeah. Yeah, and really looking at this team sheet on Saturday, what were the expectations going in? I mean, obviously, Loudon fighting for their playoff lives. They're going to throw everything they can at us, and they did. They had some really good opportunities. You saw the save there just a moment ago that Jacob pointed out. And then here you had a giveaway by Nanan Hosu, which is uncharacteristic of him. Drag shot there. There were a couple other dragged shots in this match by Loudon, but I mean, I did have some concern, and not that I felt like we weren't going to go for the win here, but just a team sheet that we haven't seen in terms of the actual roster makeup for it.
When I saw the lineup, I was like, a draw will be a good result here.
Mm-hmm.
And to be fair, a draw is probably what it should have been, if not for a boneheaded mistake from the Loudon defender. Like, a draw, whether it was 1-1 or 0-0, is probably the way it should have gone. If you look at XG and just kind of the underlying numbers. But one thing about good/great teams, which I think we're transforming into, is if you're given a gift like that stupid header, you take advantage of it. Mm-hmm. And we were able to grind one out and hang on and get a massive 3 points from a match that maybe we didn't deserve to get 3 points from.
I mean, it's easy to see it that way. I definitely felt like we were the better team in the second half again here. I felt like we had more control in the second half. But as we've seen in other matches, towards the last 10, 15 minutes, you do see Loudon really play themselves into it. You see them being more aggressive, and us, us absorbing a lot more pressure than I would have liked. Shot here, they probably should have done better there. You had the foul earlier, the not called foul on Brucey earlier. There are moments you can look at and say, okay, maybe we could have done better. Maybe something didn't quite go our way. I mean, here, ball into the box, right? This should have been a fairly, golden opportunity for us. And there, if you're, I think that was Quelle at that point. No, that was Zico. That was Zico with that shot. You got to be a little bit more clinical with that. So, other than Chris Shakes, I mean, who stood out to you in this match as being a star player for us?
Kalen.
Yeah, definitely would be Kalen.
Kalen looked like, I won't say he looked like a younger Kalen or like Kalen of old, because physically I just don't think he's quite at that level still, but he was in the right spot every single time. Mm-hmm. He has athleticism still, so he was able to make recoveries when needed. We've talked about him, missing time, blah, blah, blah. he still is super well respected in that locker room. You can tell by the way the other players treat him and listen to him. And multiple times you saw him just kind of calm them down, whether it was a little touch, an extra touch just to kind of take a beat and slow things down, or something went bad and he pulls somebody aside and he's like, "Hey, do this, do that, whatever." And I just saw that multiple times in that match. And so to me, he was my man of the match. If we're not like Shakes was the man of the match, but it was Shakes' night by far, or afternoon by far. But if we're not gonna, Shakes is kind of in another category here, for me for that match. But other than Shakes, I think Kalen being in there and having his veteran experience with Shakes being in net really helped Shakes out, because he was able to rely on, hey, Ryden's got my back, we're good. And so, we've talked about Seymour and Ryden pairing. We've now seen it twice, and I think we got clean sheets in both of them, at least the most recent ones.
Possibly.
Because we talked about it the last time, how nervous we were going into it, and they ended up working out. I'll have to look that up. But he having those four, him, Seymour, Maples, and Herbert, as four center backs that I now feel like we could have any combination of them out there and be like good to great at the back, is huge in my opinion going into the playoffs.
That it is. No, it certainly is. And that's something that we can say that other teams can't, that we have a solid core of center backs, no matter who you throw out there. We did have a question in the chat from Luis talking about Jacobo. Do y'all think Jacobo should start more, and what is his role on the team? Earl, I'm going to throw this one to you.
Yeah, thank you. I will gladly take this one. So I think Jacobo should start more. Absolutely not. I do think he should play. I'm not saying he shouldn't play, but he should come in after we have the lead late in the second half. So 65th, 70th minute, when Quill starts looking at the subs, then you could bring Jacobo in for something, for someone. His role on the team, I've said it 1.5 million times till I'm blue in my face, and Christina laughs at it because it's going to be said again. His role on the team is essentially that, a sub. I don't think he's starter quality. I do think he has quality. I also think that he is being played in the wrong spot. I think he's more of a midfielder, not a winger like we've been playing him. We've seen it when he plays midfield, he's really good. I don't think he's better than Flanagan or, you go down the list. You name it. I don't think Jacobo is better than any of our starting midfielders. And I think with Harris going down, it kind of put us in a bind to find someone. And Jacobo was like, "Yeah, put me in, coach. I got you." He loves to score, but hasn't scored in how many matches now? 3?
We have to look that up. But and so I'll kind of spell Earl's argument here against Jacobo and say that, Earl has certainly eaten crow a couple times when it comes to Jacobo this year. Should he be a starter? I think he's a great third option. He's someone that you're going to put in there in the case of the upcoming matches, or when you have 3 in a week like you did, throw Jacobo out there, give him a 1 or 2 starts, 60, 65 minutes. Is he a 90-minute guy? No. I don't think any of our strikers are really 90-minute guys. I do agree with Earl that I don't like Jacobo drifting wide. I do think he's better centrally, not as a midfielder, but as a center forward. Put him in that 9, that 10, let him drop a little bit deeper, grab possession, turn, and go upfield. He does like to drift wide. I don't think that's his forte. Now he did have some really great crosses on Saturday that unfortunately just didn't, we weren't able to make anything of them.
So
But
yes,
I think
real
Jacobo actually,
real
I
quick,
think he
my
has a
math
great role.
was right. Real quick, my math was right. It has been three matches that he has not scored. He scored in Miami, and then didn't score, and then didn't score. I'll keep going back.
Yeah, and that's a big part of it, Christina, is the fact that he's not pacey like a winger should be. Yes, he can get on a break. We've seen him do it a couple times, but I think you play him centrally, keep him within the area of the box, and that's where he's going to flourish. And Earl to Justin over chat.
Thank
and
you,
Hurst hasn't
Justin.
scored since.
Thank you.
But I do think Jacobo has been really great this season. I think he's better than he was last year. And he had, I know he had limited time last year, and I just think he's grown a lot. I think Quill has done really good things for Jacobo.
Yeah, I'm assuming we're talking about Luis's comment in the chat. I will not stand for Jacobo hate. It drives me nuts. I don't understand it at all. He works hard. He's had a propensity to score, especially lately. He does things that I think a lot of our other offensive players won't do. Like he can just he's not pacey like a Akale and Flanagan and Harry for that matter. He's not like Brucey where he's gonna like just be a pest and be all over the place. He's more cerebral and kind of takes like a Chris Paul for my basketball fans, like a Chris Paul approach where he's gonna slowly kind of break you down and look for certain passes into certain areas that are gonna do things instead of just balls to the wall like a lot of our other attackers. And so I think he's a great change of pace guy, whether that's him starting, him coming off the bench, whatever it is. He and like Justin says, he takes shots, and so Christina loves that, and I know she does. Even
if it makes you feel better, I didn't totally hate on him.
I mean,
if it makes you feel better.
So if we're being honest, Earl, when you hate on players, it kind of just goes in one ear and out the other for me. Unless it's somebody that I agree with.
But that's the thing. I didn't hate on him. I said I don't believe he's starter quality. I think he's a very, very good backup that can come in.
You also said he should be playing in the midfield, but not even a starting midfielder.
But that's not the sentiment that you have had in the group chat. You have been much harder on him in the group chat than any other player in the team. And when it was JPG or Hamilton, and there were reasons behind it. No, when there were reasons behind it, I would credit it. I would be like, no, yes, he has been playing terrible. And I have called out Jacobo when he has had a bad match. But he doesn't have them very frequently. He might not have like standout positive matches, but he doesn't have like matches where he's like, oh my gosh, why is he playing? Like we've had some players that have been like that, especially earlier in the season, but Jacobo was never one of them. Like, was he scoring all the time? No. Were we scoring all the time though? Also no. And so he just does things that I don't think show up fully. He's not like a Hosu that's gonna do things that doesn't necessarily show up in the box score, but are still like, holy shit, that was incredible. But he does little things, little tiny things, and is a great change of pace player, and can either start and then get relieved for somebody like Flanagan or Akale coming into the 10 or somebody with pace and kind of pessiness. Or he can come in for somebody that's like that and change the whole philosophy of how he's going to attack. and I really appreciate that.
All right, quick stat for you guys. Jacobo Reyes on the season. 21 appearances, I believe. I believe it was 21 appearances. Let me make sure I've got that right here. Yeah, 21 appearances.
Trivia, or are you just going to tell us?
No, I'm going to tell you. 19 shots, 11 on target.
Yeah.
His conversion rate, 21.1%.
Love it. Love
so
it.
What's wrong with Jacobo Reyes? There's one player with a higher conversion rate on the team. Well, I'll take that back. 2, I should say. Well, no, never mind. Forget that. But
7. There's 7.
Yeah, 7. Yeah. So Jacobo is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's 6th in conversion rate on the team.
Well, and like Justin says, wasn't getting the time. Like that's like Hernandez was phenomenal to start the season, and then we haven't seen him. And part of the reason we haven't seen him isn't I don't think it's necessarily a slight on Jacobo or a slight on Hernandez or anything like that. It's just we're fucking deep. It's a deep team.
Nicky's only played 947 minutes.
And I'd be willing to bet that 2/3 of those were in the first 12 matches or 13 matches. The first half of the matches. I bet 2/3 of those were in the first half of the matches that we played. So what is that? We're at 28 now? 29?
29, yeah.
So we for the first 14, 15 matches, he played 2/3 of those minutes, and since then he's only been a third. I can almost guarantee you that would be the breakdown. And yet nobody's upset about it because it doesn't seem to matter who we put in there. We are getting results. Like there's not a player in there that I think is like detrimental to the club's success. And so that just speaks to the quality of the depth of this team. And which is why, like, if Vargas is injured, and that's why he wasn't in the 18 Sunday, even if we don't have that player, I'm not like, I would love to have more depth up there. But if we don't, especially if we lock up this 1 seed. So we can possibly talk about this next week some, but I was talking about it with a friend of mine. Like if we lock up the 1 seed Sunday, then I would expect, or what I would do if I were Quill, which obviously I'm not, thank goodness, for him, not me. Like I'd love to be Quill, but I would rest for like Phoenix and Tulsa, and then ramp back up for Orange County and Memphis, so the guys are not rusty. And so I think if we can do that, and Hurst and Bruce can get the rest that they need going into that stretch run or those last few games, and then going into the playoffs, it's not as vital to me as if we have Vargas like it was, 2 weeks ago that I was like, we were all screaming for him. And so, but I hope he still plays. Don't get me wrong, but it's not the end of the world if he doesn't.
I do want to correct something I said earlier. I did say Vargas played 3. The league has him only as down for 2 matches.
That's what I
thought it was. I thought it was a 3, but I don't know. Maybe I missed something. But in his 2 appearances, he's already played more minutes than 2 other players. Who are they?
Abu Denladi.
Mm-hmm.
That's an easy one. Shakes?
No.
Or you're not counting Shakes?
Because Shake says, I'm not counting Shakes, but Shakes has 2 full matches.
Yeah. He has 2 full matches. Don't tell me.
Justin,
product or no?
Nava.
Yes. Nava does not count because Nava's not played a single minute.
It's an academy player.
It is an academy.
Then Dubois.
Yeah. Yep. Jackson Dubois has 22 minutes in 2 appearances. Abu Danladi has 13 minutes in 3 appearances.
Oh, poor Danladi.
We were so high on Abu Danladi coming into the season. And I hate it that he's been hurt all year. But man, maybe the reason for Vargas not being in the lineup was because he's not quite acclimated yet. I don't know.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Because he was in the 18 the first 2 matches of that week. Maybe he just needed some time off. I could see that. One thing I will say about Danladi, like maybe it's a good thing he got hurt, because if he didn't get hurt and he wasn't scoring, Earl would hate him. And so maybe
I still do, because he's not here and he's always hurt. He plays 12 minutes and then breaks a fucking leg.
You can't get mad about somebody being hurt. That's heartless, Earl. That's
When
something
you're-
that somebody. That's only something that somebody like that would collude in a fantasy football game would do. Oh wait,
Anyways, my prediction for this weekend 3-0.
Pain. You're just gonna give it right out
I
there.
don't even know. Oh yeah, we're playing Sacramento.
Yeah, we play Sacramento on
I was
Sunday.
like, who the hell are we playing this weekend?
But yeah, by the
We
way,
haven't even
another
got that far.
Sunday match. Yeah. So yeah, 5 matches left in the season. We got 3 on the road, 2 at home. We've got Sacramento Republic this Sunday, and John Morrissey's math is finally mathing. Finally mathing. He finally has Sac Republic to finish with less than 60 points. But yeah, I mean, you look at this, and yet Christina is correct. That match is on ESPN2, by the way. So make sure you have your cable subscriptions ready. So John
Jacob,
Morrissey,
just keep paying the bill. That's all I ask.
I will. Wait, I will. Don't worry. I got you.
John Morrissey now projects New Mexico United to finish first on 64.8 points. Maximum points available still 72. So here are your
hold on.
scenarios. Okay.
Let's talk about that 64 points. Okay. So we're at 57 now. That's how does he even get to 60? Like to me, 64 with 5 matches left, sitting on 57 points it's only 7 more points. That's disrespectful to me with the way we've played all season. Even though it finally has, we're going to finish first. Whoop-de-doo. Like, I think 64 is still on the lower end of what I think will happen. Because if we win 2, we're at 63.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's expecting 2 losses, 2 wins, and a draw.
Maybe.
With our slate that we have, I don't know. It's still slightly annoying.
Yeah, and yeah, that's why I have issues with some of his models, but again, I think it's still very heavily weighted towards the past. And it doesn't take enough into account current form, so I mean, when you come into a match, you've beaten, you beat Sacramento, you beat Loudon, you come into that, you win 2 matches at home, like in a row, like you've got to. I would think that weighs more into it, but and no, we don't have the big player signings. Yeah,
Sacramento made the Western Conference Championship.
Well, he worked for Sacramento.
Get bonus. No, he worked for Tampa Bay.
No, he used to work for Sac.
I was pretty sure he just worked for Tampa Bay.
Mm-mm. Yeah. So here are your scenarios coming into the weekend. New Mexico United can clinch a top 4 finish if we win over Sac Republic, which would moves us clear of Colorado Springs. And basically that's scenario number 1. Number 2, we draw versus Sac Republic and Memphis fails to win, or Vegas fails to win. Or 3, New Mexico loses and Memphis fails to win, and Vegas and Rising draw. That guarantees us the top 4. However, we clinch number 1 if we win. So let's just go do that. Can we do that?
Agreed.
Yeah, and as we did mention earlier, a win over Sac Republic on Sunday drops their maximum to 59. And even if Switchbacks get to 60 points, we would have the tiebreak over them because we beat them twice this season. So, because head-to-head is the top tiebreaker in the USL Championship this year. So there you go. That's the scenarios going into this weekend. We just faced Sacramento on Wednesday. Now we have to go to Heart Health Park. Now, we all know that our road record has not been phenomenal this year, but I think
we would stop saying that.
It's not phenomenal.
Nobody's road record is very, very rarely is a road record phenomenal.
Well, no.
It is a good road record, in my opinion.
No, I mean it's not.
But
7-6-1.
Is it 6 I guess it has to be losses because we don't have that many draws. Okay, it's worse than I thought. Never mind. It's not phenomenal.
Yeah.
Continue.
So yeah, so our road record is not phenomenal. When
It's above 500.
When 75% of your losses on the season come on the road. Now, to be fair, playing on the road is always hard. So, and Sacramento obviously play better at home. So something's going to have to give. Well, actually, never mind. Maybe they're not better at home. Look at that. Look at that. 6-4-4 home and away. So they're slightly better at home than away.
Consistently inconsistent.
Yeah. So I mean, something's got to give here. Okay. If you go through Sacks, let's look at their last 5 home matches. Beat Rising, beat San Antonio, beat El Paso. Now, that's expected, right? That's what's expected at this point. But then they lose at home to Pittsburgh, draw to North Carolina, lose to Las Vegas. So that's that last 6 home matches for them. So they haven't been stellar. They did beat the 3 bottom teams in the Western Conference at home, but they didn't beat the playoff caliber teams in the other 3. So
what were the 3 bottom teams? Were you counting Phoenix in there?
I was, yes. This is
Phoenix is like solidly in 7th place.
Yeah, they're still bottom.
I think they're above that fight for the playoffs now. But
no, I mean they're still very much mired in the playoff hunt. But yeah, no, the point those are teams that they should beat, right? But when you have Riverhounds lose to Riverhounds, that's a team they should have beaten. Drew with North Carolina, okay, and then they lost to Vegas. So you beat the 3 bad teams in the West. You lose to 2. Well, you lose to 1 bad team in the East. Draw with another bad team. I don't know. Could this actually be a match where we are favored on the road?
I think we theoretically should be favored on the road, like as far as betting lines are concerned, if you're just looking at this season. Now, I don't know how, like, if this was an NFL match, right? I would look at it as there's these good teams kind of get a bump with their line, like going into a game, like Green Bay, because the public likes to bet them. Sacramento, to me, would be a public team in the USL. Like they're a darling, like we talk about all the time with the USL powers that be. And so, in my opinion, we should be favored. In most people's opinion outside of New Mexico, we probably shouldn't be, even though we're clearly the better team this year. And that being said, I don't think we win. I don't think we lose, but I don't think we win.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it's so if you don't think we lose, but we don't win, what's the key to that match?
I look at it as like for Sacramento, for what they are, they are a good team. They have been inconsistent, but they are a good team. The bones of that team are still super solid. They are kind of hot at home, even though the competition has been substandard. Like, I think, like, I can't believe you're making me do this, but I think Phoenix is actually playing really good soccer right now and is going to be the 7 seed, period, point blank. Harry, how are you, sir? Just in time to see your Phoenix pick there at number 1. Good job. And then I believe that's San Antonio right underneath that. Yeah, good. Mm-hmm. Fantastic.
To be fair, we all had San Antonio in the playoffs.
I think that it's hard.
Yeah, but Harry and Seth, you also had El Paso very high.
In the playoffs, I wouldn't call 5th high.
I mean, it's higher than what they're at. And it's the highest out of us. I'm going to get at least 6 teams right No, nope, never mind. 5. I don't know. Anyways, to me, I look at it as a draw because I think Sacramento is too good and coming off of 2 losses, unless their confidence is just completely rattled, which I don't think is the case. I expect them to bounce back at least a little bit. And if Shakes is still in net and we have a little bit of squad rotation, something screams like not a major letdown game. Like I don't think we come in and get our ass kicked, but I think it's a battle, much like the first half. Like basically, I take that first half, and that's what I see kind of happening. Is we make some saves, they make some saves, nobody capitalizes on all their chances. Maybe one gets past, but I think it's 0-0.
Interesting. Okay. Earl, you already said 3-0. What makes you so confident about Sunday, and who is the key for United? You're muted. We're professionals, folks.
I didn't realize I was muted. My bad. I think just the way we've been playing, even with the own goal 1-0 win on Sunday, we still were the better team against Loudon, or if you ask Christina, Ludon. Just kidding, Christina. Just the way we've been playing, I think we come out again same way we did with Sacramento on Wednesday, and we kind of fill them out what they're trying to do the first half, and then we come out the second half with the adjustments and just shut them down. And I think we scored 3 there. I think if we have Tambakis, then yeah, we hold our own again. And if not, then I think Shakes gets his second or third career start, I guess that would be, and gets his second clean sheet, first one on the road. Which would be nice for him, especially if Tambakis is out, and given the last time he went on the road, kind of gave up 4. So being able to not give up 4 and hold a clean sheet is more motivation for him. I think really the midfield and how we attack in the second half is going to be the key. And coming out firing the second half, playing through the midfield, attacking their back line, and making them regret any decision that they make.
Okay. I mean, I do agree we have been playing well, especially in these last couple of matches here. We've shown some different things offensively. We've shown that, we're a bit more resilient than some people thought. And we are a bit more clinical than some people believe we were. If you go look over at the team stats over on uslchampionship.com, we are 3rd in the league in conversion rate. 3rd. Which a few weeks back, I know we talked about it, some weeks ago, we were down around 10th, 12th, something like that. We're 3rd in the league in conversion rate. We've got dynamic play from our forwards. We've got Brucey, you've got Quelle, who can do things from different positions. You've got AO, who can drive the bait, who can drive the goal line and make plays from there. You've got Jacobo Reyes, who's playing at a very high level right now. You've got Nanan Hosu, who's just an absolute force in the midfield. I do think we need to be a bit careful with him. I do think we need to be a bit careful. I'm still amazed he's not been suspended yet. But I love what he does. I really do. I don't see this being goalless. And I also don't see us getting a 3-0 win. I think it ends up 2-1 us. I guess it's a tough match. Anytime you go on the road, it's going to be tough to play. And yes, we have momentum right now. Yes, Sac has lost 2 in a row. And I think they're going to be searching for some answers. So I think this is, I think Quill is going to have these guys fired up. Big time match, big implications in this one on Sunday. Again, a win guarantees us number 1 seed in the West. So if these guys aren't up for that, what would they get up for? So
did you really think I would do 0-0 like me of all people?
you just might. I don't know, but
no, there's no way in hell. I think Sacramento, like if I'm being honest, Sacramento's broken. I don't think they finished number 2. I don't think they finished number 3. And I think they're in a fight with one of Vegas or Memphis for the number 4 spot. Like, I especially if what we're all, because I think it's going to be probably 2-0. I won't go 3-0, but I think we're, like Justin said, we're the big bag wolf right now. We're the better team, and if we can go in there and crush their spirit again at home, I don't like. They very well might not host a game. I don't know, because if you look at the standings, I know you had them up earlier, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure 5th place is sitting on 43 right now.
Yes.
And Sacramento has 44. And so, yes, they have a match in hand, but if they don't do anything with that match in hand, it doesn't do them any good to have that match in hand. And if they lose Sunday, then I don't know, man. Like things could get ugly in Sacramento. And I kind of like that performance that we had against them. They looked mediocre. Then they go Saturday and they lose again and look even worse. Like something's off in Sacramento, even though they have really good players and they have a pedigree of, they finished first in the West last year. They made it to the Western Conference Finals. I get all that, but something just smells off with them. And so I think we go in there and we get 3 more points. We clinch first place, and Sacramento could be in a tailspin, man. Like I think they could be like Morrissey had them finishing first until we beat them, and they could very easily finish 5th and not host a playoff game.
Yep, they're on that verge. And you look at how Vegas is playing right now. Again, they're on their unbeaten run. So that means Vegas is night and day from where they were last year. Memphis is playing fairly well right now. Switchbacks obviously on one heck of a run right now.
They haven't lost since we beat them.
Yep. If Republic does not beat us on Sunday, yeah. Even if they get a draw, even if they get a draw on Sunday, like I don't think it's gonna be that big of a difference for them.
That's what I was gonna say. Like even a draw, unless it's like, oh man, we let them get one back late and we dominated that game, but we ended up letting them score on a set piece. And unless it's something like that, like they're not gonna get any confidence. And so they very well could be on the outside looking in as far as home playoff things are concerned. And I would freaking laugh hysterically at that when I think about Morrissey's numbers of them beating us until last week. And so, it's they could be in some trouble. That being said, sometimes when a good team's back is against the wall like that, that's when we see them fight and come out with more energy and passion and will to try to get a point. And maybe we see that Sunday. I don't know. But one thing we have done is like, other than Charleston and Tampa Bay, like we don't lose by more than 2. We haven't lost by more than 1 in a long, long time since the first month and a half of the season, I think. And so teams don't typically get that rah, I'm going to smash you attitude against us lately. And we wear teams down and wear them down and wear them down. And come the second half, if it's not a 2-3 goal advantage for them, I'm feeling great about our chances to at least come back and draw.
Yeah. So I just fact checked the discussion we were having earlier about John Morrissey. He did work for both Rowdies and SAC.
Yeah, Christina already said that earlier.
Okay.
She said that you were right as always.
Wow.
I believe what her exact words, and she was referencing the Sacramento job.
Okay.
So yeah, but
all right.
I would love to see them fall.
Yeah, that would be great. Quick note before we do get out of here: Team of the Week was announced today. If you haven't checked that out, Greg Hurst, Chris
Yep.
Shakes, Coach Quill, all in the starting 11, and the coach for Team of the Week, Mukwele Akale and Abdi Muhammad both made bench for Team of the Week. So 5 New Mexico United members in the Team of the Week conversation this week. Also, if you have not done so, go over and vote for Chris Shakes for Save of the Week. He is up for the vote. He is currently leading by about 20% margin, last I saw. He was about 47% of the vote. So go over there and do that. There is no video up on the page for the saves, but at least when I checked earlier, it wasn't working. So go vote for Chris. Give him goal of the week, or save of the week, I should say. So, other than that, anything else before we get out of here?
I think Earl fell asleep 10 minutes ago, so I think we're good.
He might have. Yeah.
I thought he was going to come up and unmute, but I guess not.
Nope, I got nothing. Because I already know one of you two assholes is going to say some kind of bullshit collusion.
We're not the asshole, Earl. You fucked up, bro. Just admit it. Admit it and move on.
That's my cue.
Just admit it and move on. Anyway,
Earl's gonna have a prepared statement next week.
Yeah. Anyway, Louis, thanks for popping in the chat and being active in there. Great to hear a new voice in there asking some good questions. Justin, as always. Josh was not in the chat, was he? I did not see Josh in there today. And then Christina wasn't on because she's been sick, so hopefully she feels better. And then Harry popped in for just a second. So not as active as chat.
William earlier as well.
Oh yeah, William, my buddy. Yeah, with the priceless,
and Melanie
comment. Oh yeah, but that was talking shit about fantasy football, so I was leaving that one out. No, thank you guys so much. Earl and Seth, thank you guys. I want to apologize, Shadow Wolf. I am on my phone, so I could not do the YouTube thing on Twitter, and I've been busy at a conference all day, literally all day, from like 7 o'clock this morning, and so social media took a hit this evening. So if you didn't get your reminder and that's why you're not here live with us, I apologize. That's on me. But with that being said, what a week. 6 points. Can clinch first place now on Sunday. We will be back Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Hopefully Christina can join us. And hopefully we're celebrating locking up the 1 seed in the West and potentially looking at either resting guys or maybe chasing the supporter shield, depending on what Lou City does. Probably not, but you never know. Never know. And I can't speak highly enough of this team, and I cannot wait for that first home playoff match, which hopefully all of us will make sure we can attend. But thank you guys so much. We'll be back next week. And until then, love you and Somos News.